Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel with a new video about Disgaea. Today I am going to do entirely the episode 11. Please note that during the recording there was some issues with the sound and therefore in some portions of the video there will be no sound. So it's not your computer's fault, it's just my recording. So I apologize for this. As usual, you can start by talking to all the NPCs in the castle and one of them will give you a nice spear. So don't forget about this. Then you should head for Etna's chamber and read her diary. It's almost the end of this side quest. And then when you are ready, you can go either to the Dark Assembly if you want to pass some bills, get some equipment, whatever you want, and then we'll start the story battles.
Prince, I'm going to the...
Here I am just showing you my team just in case you want to compare with me if you want to try to have a similar team for this episode. Please note that this episode is slightly harder than the previous ones, I mean proportionally. So it's a good idea to go to the item world or to pass some builds if you had some issues with the previous episodes. This first battle will be rather easy, just 12 opponents standing on experience plus 100 panels, so you definitely don't want to touch that, you just want to kill them as fast as possible. And obviously you want to repeat this battle if your level is too low. You definitely want to use some area of effect attacks, such as Winged Slayer, Lion's Roar, some spells, while it will depend on the character you want to level up. This battle is not a challenge, it's just a preparation for what's coming up. So I will not give you any more advice, this is pretty straightforward.
Shazam!
The second battle is much harder. You have some scarecrows hidden behind trees. They are not very strong, however they can surprise you, so just rotate the camera view just in order to anticipate them. Your highest trouble in this battle would be those skull mages. They have some powerful spells such as Omega versions, and they will use it repeatedly, so definitely you don't want to bring a character with low resistance close to them. Instead, it's preferable to clear the bottom part of the battlefield first, and then you use the lift and throw option to bring a character up there with, for example, an area of effect attacks, and that will wipe them out. You can take your time, you don't have to rush all the scarecrows. It's just that if you have a character with low resistance that ends up close to the mages, you definitely want to throw a physical character up there and use some powerful area of effect attacks. Remember that many special attacks will not work if you are targeting higher ground or lower ground, so you definitely want to throw a character up there. In addition, you can use a Brave Heart and Magic Wall. This will help you during this battle in order to kill those skulls faster and to reduce the damage from their magic spells. So that will conclude the commentaries for this battle. The third battle will be as easy or as hard as you want. It will depend on your strategy and basically how fast you want to clear it. You are facing 12 Alps that are standing on blue panels and they have some geo effects on them. Defense plus 100%, recovery 40% and no lifting. Basically they will be much less vulnerable to physical attacks. They will regain 40% of their life each turn. You cannot move them outside of these blue panels, but what you have to remember most importantly is that they will never move from those blue panels. So if you don't get close to them and only use some ranged attacks, spells, guns or special abilities, they will deal almost none to absolutely no damage. If you are confident in your team, you can be more aggressive and kill them more than one at a time. Be careful, they have some spells, they also have their Hell Pepper ability, so you don't really want to have a character standing next to them at the end of the battle, but if that's not the case, then you'll be fine. Here you can see in the first enemy turn, he's using Mega Wind spell, which is area of effect and long range, so be careful about those spells. Their maximum range is more or less 5 panels, so if you stay further than that, you should be fine. There's absolutely no other strategy, it will just be a repetition of those opponents. So basically you just have to take your time if your team is too weak. And that will be all for this battle. Episode 11 is a rather short episode. Hero Storm is actually the last battle, and therefore you want to check Etna's diary first if you haven't yet. Then you should go to the hospital, save your game, and then you'll be ready for the boss battle. This boss battle is hard and tricky. The hard part because you are facing a lot of opponents, the boss but multiple subs as well, and the tricky part is that you have to take care of those enemy boost times 6 geosymbols as soon as possible. If you don't do that in the first turns of the battle, all enemies will hit you 6 times harder than usual, and you definitely don't want that to happen. In any case, you will need to use the lift and throw options. Remember that you can create a tower of 4 characters, so basically you can lift a character lifting another character and so on. Here, just pay attention to where I deploy my character. My intention was to see how far I could get without triggering any enemy movement, and therefore I went rather far during my second turn and I will get attacked. So pay attention to which enemy is coming and where my characters were if you don't want to repeat the same mistake. I have a high level team, so losing some characters is not an issue, but if it's not the case, you definitely don't want to go as far as I just did. However, the strategy remains: send your characters close to the blue line, then create in your second turn a tower of character, and the last character thrown should be your strongest attacker, and then you should destroy those geosymbols. So as you can see, they hit really hard. You need to take care of the geosymbols as fast as possible. When it comes to destroying geosymbols, you can obviously use all of your attacks, spells, whatever you have, but after playing the game I read about another mechanic which would have been useful for this battle and I didn't know at the point when I was recording, therefore I am going to tell you now. You can lift any enemy and throw it on a geosymbol, and then both will be just destroyed. If you throw an enemy onto another enemy, the weakest one will be just absorbed. He will be killed, and the strongest enemy will have its level increased by the level of the weakest character. And for geosymbols, it's as I just told you. If you throw an opponent on a geosymbol, both will be destroyed, and therefore you should, in this battle, just throw 2 scarecrows into those 2 geosymbols and you'll be fine. What I am showing you in the video is just Lahal using his strongest attack in order to destroy both in just one action. It's the most efficient solution if you have a very strong Lahal, or let's say any strong character that can destroy both geosymbols in one turn. Anyway, whatever option you choose, this should be your absolute priority, and once it's done, the battlefield will just go back to regular. You will still have those blue panels but without any effect on them, and now you can just safely kill all of the remaining opponents. The boss is actually the easiest enemy you will face in this battle. He has the lowest level, lowest stats, weakest attacks, and so on. So don't worry about him. Your strongest opponents will be those 6 flying opponents. They move really far away, they have a lot of attacks like Hell Pepper, which can inflict some status effects. They have spells as well, so they can be really painful. Don't underestimate them, make sure you have a healer nearby, and this battle should not be too hard. It will require some organization. Basically you will have one group close to those geo symbols and another one that will be fighting those Alps. Give the highest priority to those Alps and you should be fine. Again, if you don't have enough level for this battle, you should just repeat the first battle of this episode, which should give you some nice experience. And if you are really too weak for it, just make 1 or 2 runs into the item world. So that will conclude all the commentaries for this battle.
Finish this! Be gone! Huh? finish this.
And now this episode is cleared. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.